Welcome, everybody, to the Onward VR Master League. My name is Nightfire with 2 E's. I am joined by my co-caster, the Sky Joker, and we are here for an international battle. Sky, how are you feeling?
I am feeling fantastic, despite my humidity being way too high in this apartment.
Yeah, I think the numbers are equivalent to the Amazon jungle inside of your apartment, but we appreciate you sticking through it and casting in this matchup. It's going to be an interesting one. LGR Refectaya versus MANCOS BT, the French versus the Spanish, as I have dubbed it, and it is very much that. And I'm curious to see where the audience lies and who they're going to be rooting for today, Sky, what kind of fanship we're going to see come out for both of these squads. But obviously, I just want to see what kind of battles we're going to get. There's experience behind both these teams.
Yeah, both of these teams coming in right in Season 11. I think LGR came in towards the tail end, but not completely new, but definitely still on the lower end of the experience chain that we see in the league. So you never know what kind of strats you're going to see out of these guys.
Yeah, it's been super fun to sort of put a highlight onto some teams that haven't had that spotlight put onto them. And, you know, there's been teams that really got the chance to develop over the course of Season 11 and are now trying to make a name for themselves in Season 12, trying to climb up to that ladder, get up into the gold, the diamond, you know, that high tier Onward that we all love and hold dearly. You know, what we also do get is a lot of fresh perspectives on how to approach maps that have been around for a long time. You know, the map we're going to be starting off with here today is Cargo, and this one has been in the game since its origin, although in several different iterations. And I very much want to see what kind of approaches we get out of both LGR and MANCOS. You know, not only do we get that international perspective, Sky, which we don't often get a chance to tune into, but we also do get, again, this kind of fresh team perspective. And so, yeah, I don't know what we can really expect here today, and these first few rounds are just going to be so fun to kind of give us an idea of what these squads are bringing to the table.
And another thing that I notice in the dynamic when you get to these international teams is they tend to be a lot more maybe bubbly, for lack of a better term. They tend to be a lot more fun, and they enjoy themselves a lot when they come in here. And I think part of that is their own little communities that they have going on that you kind of alluded to. And it's always fun to branch out into those and get them in the spotlight.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it offline, but I know that there are specific Discords for the French and the Spanish and the OCE communities. There's all sorts of different spaces where you can kind of go and hang out with that group. And then obviously everyone comes together in the VR Master League Discord where you end up duking it out in that regular season ladder. And yeah, we get a chance to cast a afternoon matchup here, a real exciting battle. And both teams in lobby, so we can take a look at active rosters. Coming in from LGR, we have Armageddon, MK Snoop Sniper, Burke 80, Burse, I don't know. We're gonna. I got the team name down, but I don't have the players per se. Superman Matt and Remley. I think those V's are stylish, but maybe they're not. Over on MANCOS, we have Darian by Baron Delariba, Farragon 91, Tavo, and Selfo. And yeah, I mean, these teams have not been. I mean, Sky, I think you catched one game from MANCOS last season. LGR didn't get an opportunity to be on the stage. It's their first time being cast. It's going to be exciting to watch, you know, what we get out of these squads, and I'm sure they're both eager to show their communities what they're going to be bringing to this table. Sky, I mean, we're talking about it. You know, I want to see it in chat, but I'm excited to watch both of these squads duke it out. Seeing some first-time viewers, vamos. Yeah, we're getting there. Just waiting for these teams to ready up, and we'll be diving into round number 1 on Cargo. Make sure they're not waiting on us, too. Give them the ready when you are, so to speak, although I don't even know if they're online. And, yeah, we should be popping in to the start of this map. Sky, Cargo is definitely a fast way to kick this off. I mean, I anticipate some pretty hectic early rounds here.
Oh, yes, definitely. Cargo. So, Cargo is one of those set the pace kind of maps. Whenever you pick Cargo, you're saying, I want things to go fast. I enjoy close, and I want it to be a little chaotic. So, when a team picks Cargo against you, you got to wonder, why do they want to be aggressive, and how are we going to counter this expectation of quick play? It's always fun to see the mind games that come out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just waiting, I believe, on a little bit of a tech issue, it seems. Maybe audio not coming through. But they are waiting for the 5th to reconnect here for MANCOS. Maybe a sub, too. The MANCOS full roster is pretty full, I believe. Yeah, they do have a few subs that they can dip into. I mean, Darian Bai, one of their lower ranked, I suppose, on the ladder, but they're being brought in here. Lamille's also been in since season 11. The whole Selfpo actually new to season 12. So that's what I knew there was a new, they had, I think, a couple of new players who just self-vote to season 12, but that's kind of what these season 11 squads have been doing. They've been, cultivating as a team over the course of that season 11, and now when we get to season 12, they've added on one or two, tried to stick with the players that they've played well with, and try and really figure out what that roster looks like, because, man, it can be tough to really hone in a good quality roster that you can all play together with consistently. You're all good at practicing together. That is not an easy task, and it's really exciting to see teams doing it. I just love to watch these season 11 squads really developing as a team.
Yeah, team culture is such a major aspect of really anything, but competitive sports, competitive gaming. It's just so important to know that you're playing with people who you can trust and who you understand, who you can tell what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, when they're going to do it. And staying with the core team is just crucial.
Yeah, it really allows. I mean, I think the beginners can attest to that. Being as a core team really does help you grow. And admittedly, we're finally seeing a bit of a shakeup in these top teams as well. And so season 12 is really a season of opportunity, and I'm super excited to see which teams are going to seize that opportunity. We haven't really even looked at the higher tier of the ladder very much in these first few weeks of the season, and it's going to be super exciting to see, I think week 4 and 5, what kind of matchups we get up in that top 10, Sky. That's going to be when things really get crazy, but we have bought enough time, and we are into the action. Round 1 does begin on Cargo. LGR on offense, MANCOS BT on defense.
We already have a smoke coming out. Interesting spot to cover that quick line. So these teams have definitely studied what they can and can't do. Good map knowledge required for that.
Yeah, for sure. Although that is a blocked line of sight now. There is that cargo crate that crosses through the center. Oh no, Super able to find the first pickup of the series. Grabbing that one on the edge. Good smokes out onto the objective. Pretty well placed to give themselves a bit of cover if they decide to cross out. But MANCOS have an interesting defensive setup. They are really passive on this placement. They are not looking for any early picks. Tavo even dropping a bit back off the corner. Everyone instead focused around this objective building, and it'll be interesting to see how LGR approach this defense.
Yeah, this is a defense, again, as earlier, casting some of the newer teams, you see some weird stuff. I've never seen this kind of defense for this objective. Everybody up on the east side facing towards the objective west side. Very interesting concept.
Curious to see how it
But
plays
it does
out.
lock your entire defense into one spot on the map, allowing
Mm-hmm.
LGR to do exactly what they're doing, and that is encircle the objective.
Yeah, this is when things can get dicey because they actually don't have great coverage of that wall against objective. Oh no, Darian botches a nade toss. Has to drop off. Selfo down in a trade.
Oh.
Remy's on the backside, finds a kill, and Baron de la Riva is the last alive. Mancos down to 1 as Remley does decide to look for the kills here. They're on the hunt. Baron catches one over the top, turns it into a 1v2, but only so quickly as Remley finds the final kill. And, well, it came down to that 1v3 scenario, but Mancos can't quite hang in there, and LGR kick off the series with a solid Marsoc round under their belt.
Wow. That was solid coordination.
Yeah.
And for a kind of first-time debut, Legula Refractaria really needed something like that to come out the gate with, and they nailed it.
Yeah.
Especially on a Marsoc round for their map pick right off the bat.
Yep.
Man,
Yeah, and for
that's
those that
what they needed.
maybe aren't familiar, the regular format of how the this whole system works is at the start of a series, the home team gets to ban a map. The away team then bans a map. In this case, Legual Refractaire are the home team. They then get to pick the first map as home team, and so they have chosen Cargo. And once a team picks the map, the opposing team gets to choose which side they start on. And so Mancos opted to start on the defensive side. And as we go through these rounds, we will swap sides. So now LGR are defending this objective, and Mancos will be attacking. And the idea is for the attacking squad to try and defuse the objective, try and get up to the objective and punch in a 7-digit code. That gets them 2 points. And so what we saw there was LGR surrounding the objective, getting ready to get close to get that code, but instead they killed the enemy team, and that gets them 1 point. And so this is the general back and forth of this series that we'll be watching here. And after a few false starts, it looks like round number 2 is actually going to be underway. Let's see how LGR is strategizing on the defense.
S'ils étaient prêts, de toute façon, ils étaient pas prêts, ils devraient avoir 17.
Bon, par contre, j'ai intérêt à cavaler parce que là, je vais m'exposer là.
Well, I can't translate, Sky. It is good communication. I do know that. It is active communication, so at the very least they are chatting it up back and forth. Armageddon getting across scot-free. LGR out the gate, catches 1, 2 for Burst. Darian and Selfo both down, both with headshots, no less. Unresable. And instantly the Mancos offense is shut down, and Burke is going to continue to push forward here.
Ooh. That grenade almost caught Armageddon in the far east corner over there. It's almost a James-level nade right there. Ooh, as Remliv, man, just picked up Baron right down the center. And Mancos' attack is just getting picked off one by one.
They are stuck in this corner right now, completely surrounded by both Bert, Super Mad, and Remliv, and they are very much hanging in there. Superman is going to peek out. They're going to catch Farragon.
Mancos just struggling to understand what kind of angles they need to be focused on here.
Well, and it's a bit of a crazy defensive send here as they push out aggressively to find these early picks and are now hunting for Tavo, the final defender. It's not going to be an easy job holding up. And yeah, and in those rotations, in that over-aggression, there is a team kill.
Oh, the trade to finish things off. But fortunately for LGR, they had many other teammates up, giving them the win there.
And out the gate, Cargo is looking good for this LGR squad. Obviously, their map pick, and so they're feeling comfortable on it. But that objective in particular, not an easy one, I would say, to defend. And they did certainly a good job of defending it. And we now go to a objective that I just saw capped, I believe, yesterday. Or no, 2 days ago. And it is certainly a cappable objective with the proper smoke placements and the right kills. There is several different spots you can kind of tuck in and cap on this objective. So I wonder if LGR are going to be kind of hunting for that. They could 4-0 map 1 out the gate, win 3 rounds, and take a map just like that. You can't ask for a better start, Sky.
Not at all. And yeah, especially when you're coming out the gate this strong and you feel like you have the dominating presence, you can definitely go for a risk like that. And with an objective, so this one is not quite the far north one, so this one is a little bit more capable in my opinion. There's definitely a couple little sneaky corners, and then plus the smoke cap that has become popular recently. They could go for it. They're looking coordinated enough.
It is an option, and yeah, I agree. They are certainly synced up here on this map. They're doing a good job of fighting against the MANCOS defense. At least they did last round. And as MANCOS go back to defend, the objective changes location, and LGR go back to attacking. And so we'll see how MANCOS set up for defense here. There's kind of a few different ways you can do this, guy, right? You can get out aggressive, try and take control of that middle cargo area, or you can really sit back and be a little bit more patient, allowing them to cross into your lines of sight.
Looks like Tavo's going to be the furthest forward position here in the yellow room. Looking across, Darian Bai possibly, who can look across from the red crate as well. They've definitely opted for a different style of defense. They've got players on both sides looking across. That's going to be a lot stronger than what they had before. But all these smokes coming out from LGR really going to prove efficient to cross off a lot of these lines.
Yeah, they do still have to get rid of both Darian and Selfo's angles, though. These are very powerful spots to be holding, and if Remliv does want to take control of this center area, they're going to need to smoke this out. A lot of the smokes are focused up over by Tavo, who's decided to push out from that area. Oh, and a team kill. Straight up through the center. Tavo's here in the corner. They're not ready for Burke to come flying around. A res comes in. LGR bouncing back from what was looking like maybe a bit of a messy start. Only 3 left alive for MANCOS. 1 resable in the center. And plenty of time to work with.
And is putting out some crossfire, but Sniper manages to shut that down. And LGR, they're beating this very patiently as another one gets picked up, leaving just Farragon left to defend. LGR is just being patient, getting the picks as the defense rotates. Armageddon going for the cap. Farragon not looking at it, not watching the objective, too busy watching his back.
Oh, they'll have an angle. Oh, they shut it down just in time. The kill comes through, and LGR take the round, but not the cap. A near cap there. Thankfully, that final peak comes in to shut down the code from being entered in, and also thankfully that it took a little bit of time to get that code in. I mean, one thing we don't talk a lot about, Sky, but punching in a 7-digit, memorizing it nonetheless, and then punching it in is sometimes not the easiest task.
Not at all. So some of the complications that come up in that process, one, memorizing the code while in firefights and crossing the map and thinking about all these other lines of approaches, and then getting to the objective and having to type in the code with a controller and a laser can get a little bit finicky. You know, your hands are shaking, you're a little nervous, you don't have any necessarily touch feedback of each button. You have to go off of vibrations and visual. It's just, it gets a little finicky. And then you have to type in that 7-digit code as fast as you can.
Yeah, it is a skill worth practicing, in my opinion, and you do see certain players on teams that are sort of designated cappers because they have such a good skill set in capping and punching in those codes. Good short-term memory is helpful too, you know, and some people have that and some don't, and so it's, you know, in some cases important to have sort of a designated individual that you do send in for these cap opportunities so that they can do it quick. Of course, at the high level, you know, everyone's got to be able to punch in a code fast, and it's a skill that everybody has to really have. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, we've seen plenty of slow caps come through at the high level over our history here at the VRML, but we are just into a brief technical pause. Hopefully we'll be back quickly. MANCOS ideally bringing back their 5th. Maybe I'm wondering if it's going to be a sub. Again, they do have that additional folk they can bring in on their roster if one's not feeling like they're selling. But I think they had 2 kills, the one that dropped. I can't remember who it was. And so I think they'd want to bring them back. Hopefully they will reconnect quickly and we can get into what is match point for LGR, or map point, excuse me. They are 1 round away from snagging the first map of the series. Of course, we then go to map 2, which again is MANCOS' map choice. And so they'll be able to go to a place where they are comfortable, where they really have some pre-planned strats that they are confident in work, stuff that they've hashed out over the course of Season 11 and their matchups in Season 12. And it is, yeah, it's going to be Selfo back, so no subs coming through. But everyone reconnected in round number 4, kicking off, Sky. Let's see if MANCOS can put something together and get a point on the board, or if map 1 is going to go the way of LGR 4-0.
On défend, on close la game sur Carbo. On défend, on
Ouais,
close la game.
c'est dommage. Ouais, c'est dommage.
There's just something so cool about foreign languages. I don't know what it is.
Now you say that until they're telling you that they don't like you.
Well, you know what? I can't understand it, so it sounds beautiful.
What's looking beautiful here is this push from MANCOS. They are getting aggressive, but Armageddon throws a bit of a counterweight at him. Able to get behind Baron and under this aggressive fire. Works their way through the center undetected. Selfo not supporting over the top. Unfortunately, it looks like maybe a disconnect coming in from them. And a pickup coming in from Sniper. Tavo, I think, alone in this endeavor as Selfo gets shot there. Tavo trying to get the res. They do get it in the smoke. So it is a 2v5, but this pinch is coming around on these two.
LGR just has a great understanding on the lines of approach and the lines of holding. They clearly have a designated aggressor, and then the rest kind of hold back and see if any comes through the holds. Armageddon comes up behind as Fierce comes around the corner. Beautiful pinch to end the round on Cargo.
Nice little high five between the LGR squad to round off what you said as a beautiful pinch. And map 1 locked in. Comfortable lead for them, a lot of momentum in the side of LGR, and not what I expected, Sky, when looking at the match histories here today. You know, MANCOS played a full Season 11. You know, that gives them a little bit more, I think they have maybe 15 more games than LGR played in Season 11. So it's a lot more time to develop as a squad, and, you know, the big question I always throw around at the start of these first few weeks is who's been putting in the off-season work. You know, who's been playing a lot and been practicing as a team and trying to figure out their strats, and it certainly seems like LGR got interested at the end of Season 11 and stayed interested during the off-season, because they are looking good here in Season 12, looking coordinated, and Map 2 is definitely going to be a challenge for MANCOS. I say that, though, not knowing where we go, what they're going to choose, what that third map is going to look like. And I am very curious where it's taking us there. Shipyard. Couldn't quite tell from the loading screen. But Shipyard here for map 2, and, well, it's a little bit more range, Sky.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be changing the pace a little bit here. Yeah. Shipyard attesting to its medium range, except with the boat. Gonna have a little bit of a cargo feel over there. Take a look at the first objective. As I said, the boat. Yeah. So a little bit similar in style to, I would say this is a good phase into a new size of map. You know, we still have the close quarters objective. However, there are longer angles that can be taken.
Yep.
So we can kind of ease our way into our mid-range engagements.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see what sort of, again, styles we get from both of these squads. So far, though, LGR definitely bringing that coordination. And, you know, MANCOS played well. I mean, you know, it's not like they got completely shut out. You look at the KD from that last series, everyone was getting on the board. You know, there wasn't any 0-4s or anything drastic there. And so I almost wonder if maybe they just weren't fully warm or loose or prepared for what LGR was going to bring. And now that we go to a space of comfort for them, maybe we'll get a bit of a different presentation from them. Looking at the rosters, no subs coming in from my memory. Yeah, no subs coming in on either side. So we're sticking with these 10 who are loose from a, well, maybe not, but only 4 quick rounds on cargo.
Yeah, and Legulawa Refractaria are definitely coming to this with a bit of confidence after that 4-0, maybe even too much. Now they have to remember they're going into MANCOS is home ground, so to speak, as it is again their map pick. Yes, a comfort zone. So they have to kind of remind themselves, why is this a comfort zone? And we need to stay on task, stay on fight.
Yeah, and I wonder, you know, what kind of research was done here. If you look at, you can dig into the stats by going over to vrml.com and finding your favorite team on the /onward/teens page, and you can see the entire history of a squad. So technically, if they did want to do their research, they could see what maps these teams are good on. And I don't even know if the Shipyard was in the rotation, but it doesn't look like it was when LGR played. When they joined at the tail end of Season 11, Shipyard was not played by them. And so other is actually listed there. Maybe that's maybe Shipyard is there. 6 maps played, so maybe they did. We'll have to enhance how we track the custom maps. But you know, you very well could be picking into a weak point there if MANCOS did their homework, so to speak, and figured out where LGR are strong and where they've historically lost. So who knows? It's always sort of that higher level meta I love to kind of think about, you know. And I don't know if teams are putting in that much thought process into the such as picking into a weakness or a strength, but it definitely does happen, and eventually teams start to do it when they start to climb up into that ladder. And so we'll see what we get, Sky, as we get into round number 1 of map 2.
Pretty common split coming out from the offense. The 4-1, 4 aggressing the ramp. 1 going in on the south towards the center building. Armageddon doing his work in around the back as we have a firefight. Sniper taken down 1. Only downing him on the ramp, but Armageddon getting shut down on his flank with the trade. 2 down now on the ramp.
Baron Delibra trying to swing over and get to that side, not able to, as they don't have that rooftop cover to support as Superman Mad, I mean, got way back there and defending from that far angle. And 2 down, but resable, so MANCOS is certainly in a place where they can bounce this back, turn it into a 4-4. They do need to get rid of Sniper, though, here, and he should be getting called out by the team. They should have an idea that there's one on the stairs.
Doesn't look like Farragham's going to be ready for it.
Maybe he's trying to avoid it. Bravo does get over there, does get the res. Snooper comes flying down and takes some damage. A flash comes up and over there, going to get aggressive. That's a good flash.
Beautiful flash. Oh, but he gets scared off the shots back at him. The blind shots manage to keep him back. Darian manages to get the gun up just in time to catch Snooper around the corner.
Wow. A near fatal push for MANCOS, but that blind fire did save them, Sky. It definitely pushed them off of that. It deterred the aggression. And Darian alone on the cargo crate while the rest of the squad decides to rotate very quickly. They swing and shift. And I do like to see this level of quick commitment as a squad. Shots come out, and now they lose their on-ship attacker, but that doesn't really slow them down as Tavo continues to charge.
Pavo was playing this very slow, but he has opted to change pace and get behind Remliv. This could prove dangerous, though. If they don't catch on to Remliv being out here on their back end, this could be a solid flank if LGR realizes what's happening.
It could also be fatal if Remliv doesn't crash. It could mean a cap.
Yes.
As they are far away from objectives, so a bit of a risky play.
Paragon's going in.
Information for
Coming in
CBA
right
to
behind
work
on the
with.
Juggernaut.
Oh!
Ooh.
A big double kill there, and now Tavo slows down a bit, but it might not be the time to slow it down. Superman Mad's up top. Work on objective, and actually maybe they can sneak through here. Remliv almost has an angle. And they're past that.
Ooh.
They are sliding through this
close.
defense here. Gonna have to fight Burke soon, though. Here's
He
the
gets
slide
up
in the
and
corner.
runs with Crusader.
Much better round,
here's
though,
Fade.
coming in there from MANCOS, if I do say so. That offensive push. Definitely coordinated in that swing. You know, there, it's just, again, they got caught out early by a good pick from Superman.
Yeah, and even after that catch out, they managed to regroup, get the numbers on them. But I think the timing was just a little off. If they had pushed in sync, it would have been a little bit better. However, I think they were too focused on getting a couple people sneaking up in there, and that got them caught out. That nice double kill to save the objective.
Huge. Yeah, I mean, they had a good play. Like I said, MANCOS, they looked good there. That was a solid offensive attack. They got very close to capping, truly. I mean, if Burke goes down there in the center, there's all kinds of... I mean, they only have one more. It was nearly a cap opportunity for MANCOS. They could have kicked off their map pick 2-0, and I mean, you couldn't imagine a better way to start your map choice, right? So can't blame them for trying to go for that cap opportunity.
And this definitely goes to show why they picked Shipyard. They definitely have a good understanding and a good playbook for this map. And that was just round one.
Yeah.
So who knows what other plays we have in store for these future objectives.
Suppose we'll find out right now as we get back into the action. Round 2, LGR on offense now as MANCOS go to defend, and we'll see if they can hold on the objective as LGR did. A tough task as LGR has been looking very coordinated, giving MANCOS a run for their money in this series. But what I am enjoying seeing here is a very active and communicative MANCOS squad. Really trying to discuss and figuring out ways to get through this LGR team.
At least we assume that's
I
what they're
assume,
talking
yes,
about.
of course. Someone will
For
translate
all
it.
we
And
know,
they're
they're
talking
talking
about
about
their
dinner.
lunch. Yeah. I'm
What are the
thinking
odds?
lunch, but yeah, you're right. Dinner. No, you're right. Dinner is the time. It's the EU matchup. Onboard Farragon
It's
here,
so
who
funny.
almost has Remliv's line of sight caught up here, but they're just not swinging wide enough to see them on the corner. Remliv is looking. I do think sees
Oh!
the ankles.
What a shot. That's going to shut down the only high ground that the
Yeah.
defense had. That is key in getting LGR into better positions. They no longer have any overwatch on the MANCOS side. The rest of them are just in mostly ambush positions.
Yeah.
Tavo being the only one looking outward.
That's what I was kind of noticing too with this defensive setup. It's very cargo heavy. You don't really see that very often, as teams often do invest in trying to hold the outer side as well. Like you said, have that sort of height to look down into. But at the end of the day, you have to push into the cargo crates to get to this objective. You know, taking control of the high ground doesn't get you everything. And so maybe this defensive strat will work. LGR may be unprepared for something this late in terms of a hold, and they are working their way up. Burke is getting close. Remliv swinging around, and they do have one on the boat, but with 4 minutes left, they got a lot of time.
Yeah, Refractio were very heavily invested on getting those early peaks. And one thing that this defense is doing is preventing those early picks.
Ooh.
Despite the one, oh, so close. Bierce running away at just the right moment. LGR is going to have 4 members of the defense to deal with on their final approach, though. Not something they've been used to.
Tavo needs to change the order up there. Throw the flash first, then the nade. I think that would have done them a little bit more, but they definitely almost naded and flashed them. And
Cell phone Superman right next to each other. And Bierce about to make his approach as well. If they time this just right, this going to be a serious play. Oh, trade right off the ramp. And that sparks Superman to make his approach, but Selfo's going to shut down.
An absolutely massive pick as they still have control there. Darian putting out some suppressive fire, forcing this rotation that does come out. Snooper Sniper rotating around, and LGR's trying to crash. There's 2 in objective that they have to get rid of.
Oh, trade right next to Darian.
Rezable can pick him up quick. Brown lives here.
The drop on objective, the last man disconnecting. Oh, that was so close. That was a nail biter right there. That defense was holding strong.
I don't even see a disconnect on the scoreboard.
Oh, wait.
I have no idea what happened right there.
It was the last guy on objective.
Yeah.
He was taking some blind shots, and then the round was over. But nobody... Oh, Darian. Yeah, no, he did disconnect. Yeah, it's all zeros. The Darian.
Yep. Okay.
There he is. So he just disconnected and came back really fast.
I mean, you know, the unfortunate reality is that we have rules in place for being able to reset rounds if you have a disconnect in the start of it. But once the round has begun, you just can't, you know, you have to play through what can be bugs, disconnects, and score is the score. And so, I mean, while it's not 2 points, it's not a cap, it still does give LGR another point on the board in what could have been a MANCOS hold. It was looking a little bit dire. You know, they still had 2 left alive for LGR. The res was available, and you could see that he was looking for the syringe to get the res, but I don't know if they had the time, and man, quite a crazy way to hold that objective, Sky, because that's what you get, right? You just get chaos when they eventually get to the pushing.
Yeah, when you opt to do such a tight defense like that, you're giving the other team a lot of space, a lot of wiggle room. And once the attack happens, you have very little time to react to where it's coming from and rotate to your friends.
Round number 3 kicking off here as we get back into it. We'll see if MANCOS can bounce back from the unfortunate disconnect and see what they throw out on offense here as we do go to another objective that can be capped.
Armageddon, once again, being the kind of spearhead for this defense. Pretty solid ambush position up here. We've got a couple of MANCOS going through the tunnels. They're going to pop out in that central building, and they're going to have to exit and deal with Armageddon almost immediately. Actually, Bierce is going to be their first contact looking out from Blue Room.
Little trade there between Baron the Libra and Snooper Sniper, but nothing connecting. And a risky shift there as the pickup from Superman Mad finds one inside the warehouse. They're resable, though, and that certainly is a res that can be picked up. The trouble is the cross is very much covered and is going to require a smoke to get there, at least safely. Either that or you wrap around the outside, coming from the other end. They're going to go with the smoke.
The entire Leg Guluwa Refractaria defense is focused on this central building. heavily, and that's where MANCOS are all going. So it's going to work in their favor as a trade comes out in the front end. Both insta-kills. Looks like that res is going to come out, though. Going to bring this to a 4.5v4.
And I like to see the teamwork, trying to work together here. The trouble is they're all stacked up, vulnerable to a push. Luckily, they finally do shut down that aggression. Snooper hunting through that crack as Superman Mad continues to wreak havoc from that top floor, but they are down to 3. What a nade. Perfectly placed between the two of them.
Fish in a barrel right there as the entire team was funneled into that garage door.
Oh. Wow.
Wow. Solid plays that you don't expect to see from bronze teams. I mean, wow. Coordination was just...
I mean, again, this nade is perfect. Right in between those two defenders, ends that round. And MANCOS were rebounding. You know, that's the unfortunate reality. They were collecting themselves, getting their coordination back, figuring out what their plan was going to be, and then they just get completely shut down with a perfectly tossed grenade.
I think what we're seeing out of MANCOS is a strong need to be together, and I think that's really playing against them. They don't seem to be too comfortable with splitting up and coming in at multiple angles. And they find themselves getting shot down in groups quite a bit.
Yeah, you know, it can be helpful if you're all together covering different angles, but when you're all looking in the same space or you're all too close, those nades and those sweeping kills can end up happening. And now LGR are what could be a round away from locking in map 2 and taking the series. We do still play out the third map despite the outcome here in these first two. The points, the rounds won matter at the end of the day. It'll help determine how much a team goes up or down in rank. And I just realized I had the score right. Okay, I was... LGR on offense now as MANCOS try and rally there, a little team powwow before they get out here as Darien comes charging in.
Oh, wow. Oh, almost a team kill. Oh, but from one aggressor to another, Superman shuts down that quick push out. Take a look at the defense here. 2 setting up in the ambush positions. 1 was looking out but got taken down by the sniper of the team, LGR. Yep. Now it's just down to Tavo on the Overwatch side, which he's looking at a very limited angle from the blue room. It'll be very easy for LGR to kind of slip by him if he's not careful.
Oh my gosh, and Remlev just makes it past Tavo's line of sight there. Question is, will they also make it past if they try and go up the stairs? This next push up.
Oh, Superman seeing Selfo through the wall here. But not taking the shot.
Oh, that is a sliver of a shot, so a tough one to be taken. I don't even think they have the angle.
Selfo was turned the other direction and his backside was through. But
Yeah.
now they are definitely aware that Selfo's there. Oh, but Remliv gets the high ground. Manages to shoot down on the defense. That's going to weaken them up even more into a 2v5 now.
Yep.
Tavo's not sure where those shots came from.
Yeah, well, they were watching that angle. They just missed the cross up to the stairs, and still Tavo has an ID'd and Remliv here. There are the shots they connect. The push coming into the objective side, though, and Burke could be nearing a cap potential. Baron DeLibra is still here defending, and so Superman may run into that. Tavo also has an angle, and so Burke can't fully commit. As Tavo comes out,
Tavo.
Burke
Ooh.
finds that kill. Baron able to get one on their feed as well, but now Burke can push up to the objective corner and technically cap.
It looks like he is intent on the kill coming around the corner as Baron looks down and Burke gets the final kill once again, now on Shipyard.
8-1 there for Burke. You know, definitely
Wow.
a standout round for them on Shipyard. But LGR coming in here to this series and doing well to secure themselves a few maps out the gate. And again, not the outcome I expected when I was looking at the history of these teams. You know, it's impressive to see how much work LGR has put in the offseason to get to this point. And very clearly, a team capable of playing out. I would think at least up into the silver gold division. I want to see what kind of how they do against a bit of a higher seeded opponent, which they will certainly get, Sky, as they do climb up the ladder. Map 3 is going to be Bazaar, the first time I've seen this picked this season, and so that'll be kind of a fun watch to see what MANCOS do. But Bazaar is definitely a bit more close quarters. We're kind of going back. Maybe similar to Shipyard, I suppose, right?
In a way, but Bazaar, I love Bazaar. It's definitely my favorite map that I've played on this game, and one of the things that I love about it so much is its variety. You could do an infinite number of different things for every objective, just based on the different sections that Bazaar brings in between the market, between the various courtyards, the long streets. There's just so many different things you can do, and I love that about Bazaar. You can play an objective 5 times in a row and do something completely different every time.
Yeah, it really has quite a bit of variety strategically wise. A lot of different ways to approach things, and it does make it a little bit of a challenge sometimes to defend for that reason as well. You're not really ever sure where they're coming from. It's always good to identify early, if you can, the spawn points of a Marsoc offense. And so we'll see what we get. LGR going on the attack to start the series, start map 3, MANCOS on defense. Again, as a reminder of how this works, LGR had first map choice, MANCOS had second, and LGR are picking map number 3. So this is a comfort zone for them. And if anything, probably a place they're going to look to snag a few caps, I would think, Sky. There's definitely a couple of objectives that come to mind where the LGR coordination could definitely pay some dividends.
Yeah, this objective being a little bit more in the open. They've been utilizing smokes, but mostly for crosses, not necessarily for caps. So I think this is definitely going to allude to their more pick and rotate type of play style, because there's the defense that's required for this particular objective. You end up being exposed to multiple angles while watching one angle, so it's going to be very tough to deal with a team like LGR.
Absolutely, and you know, we talk about it, but the series is lost. MANCOS are still going to want to lock in this map. They're still going to want to put up a few rounds on the board at the very least, so that they can minimize how much they go down in rank this early in the season. You know, a loss like this certainly can impact where you're positioned in that regular season ladder. And for those that aren't familiar why we talk about that ladder so much, it's because at the end of the season, we take the top 8 teams from the ladder and pitch them in a postseason tournament. There's prizes on the line that come from all of our sponsors, and it's a pretty hype few weekends that I always love to look forward to. But it's a ways away, and these teams have time to build up to that top 8 in the ladder. Of course, it's a big challenge when you're fresh and have a few losses early in the season. So both teams definitely wanting to get dubs here. LGR on track for a big one if they can snag map 3.
And to cut you off a little bit there, Darian getting the first kill on the 3rd map. Gonna shut down a push into the pink courtyard or far east courtyard from LGR. Gonna take down one of their wings, one of their flanks there. So now most of the attack is going to focus around more central and south.
Superman Mad definitely been finding a bunch of kills. Burke up through the center looking for some stuff, looking for anybody defensively peeking out, and they actually may run in to Baron de Libre here soon enough. Baron has a line down into the street and should see that cross, but I don't know if they caught it.
A very tight angle. It would be very hard to poke that out.
Yeah, I think Burke gets across undetected here. Could be very dangerous. Still, though, Selfo back also watching. Tavo can rotate. Farragon's deep there, too. So a lot of defense that they have to pick out.
Might find the back of Superman if he catches movement. How Superman's already made into that blue room area. Now Darien has a crossing line with Selfo. Hopefully Selfo recognizes him as a teammate.
Yeah, from that distance it does get a little bit challenging. There's no UI or team name indicator over that player like we see it.
Sniper and Farragon on 2 right next to each other, about to run into each other. For the push, but Sniper with a nice free fire around the corner is going to find the shot. And now Superman pinning down Baron over near objective. The attack, ominous.
I think that was a combination of ominous and imminent.
Yes, imminent. Yes.
An ominous, imminent push coming in here from LGR as they begin to set up. But
it's the
Darien
French that's throwing me off.
Back there, and Superman just decides to take a little gander on the backside and gets a pickup. A nice swing there. Cuts down another that could have done some damage to the MANCOS attack. But still, the MANCOS defense. Still 3 left alive, though, in LGR. Beginning to encircle around the objective here.
Alvo looking for the shots on Remliv while Baron tries to keep Superman and Sniper down. Selfo gets pushed, though. Remliv with a nice shot. Selfo not quite fast enough on the draw. In this 2v4, getting encircled here. Tavo making a run, not quite fast enough on the draw to take down Superman, who's ready for it. On the Humvee, down to just Baron on objective. Smoke's coming out.
Suppressing his own teammates there, though. There was a moment for a team kill. The smokes are there, and the rotation comes in on defense. The final kill lands LGR a Marsoc round, and they continue to go undefeated in this series. Another point, 1-0 here against MANCOS in map 3. 9 unanswered points. And these are some of the tough series, you know, when you're in the shoes of MANCOS. It's really a testament of your team and how well you can play together when you're at a stage like this where you really have to kind of grit your teeth and just try and get a point on the board.
And one thing I'm seeing here, despite LGR taking every round, MANCOS has not just given up. That was a solidly played defense. Their minds are still in the game, despite everything that's going on.
Yeah, you know, the experience is showing there and that they are still playing to their core and their understanding of these maps. But LGR, like I said, I think I've just put that little bit extra work in the off-season is what I would guess. I don't really have any way of knowing him without asking him, but it just seems like to come in at the end of Season 11 and be playing like this now in Season 12, they definitely would have had to do, at the very least, some homework and some scrims together. And so I think they are, to me, looking ready for some higher ranked squads right now. You know, the second week, they're definitely looking good, coordinated. Shots are landing. I think that's something we don't talk about a lot, Sky. Seeing a lot of good shots coming in from Sniper. Obviously, Burke has found a lot of kills as well, Superman, but they're connecting with some very good, fast shots, and another indicator that maybe they've been sitting in the range. You know, there's a lot that you can do to practice this game at different stages. And so who knows what they've been doing, but it certainly is paying off. They have a 9-0 lead here for map 3. LGR go on the defense.
One thing that I really like about LGR is the way they're able to control the pace of the round. They speed up and slow down as a unit, and that's something that's just so hard to do, especially with a newly put together team. Rebliv over here about to find himself in a 1v2 Selfo versus Darian.
Uh-oh.
Oh, wow. I missed the action there in the center. Bierce with a nice flank. Gonna find 3 in the street?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And this is something that this team has to worry about now, as they are on the back foot, so to speak. LGR has so much comfort. You know, they have so much freedom to work with, and they can do stuff that is unexpected. That flank definitely catching MANCOS out off guard. They were not anticipating a defensive player to be that far forward in a competitive lobby. You know, it's a super
Bierce going around the back.
And yeah, that kill comes through to round it off. LGR locking it in 2-0 now, and again on the hunt for that perfect series. They're looking for the 12-0 to kick off week 2, or I suppose wrap up week 2, and get themselves into a position where weeks 3 and 4 may be a little bit more challenging for them, because that's usually how things work out. You know, you have your first few wins, and then if you do get a bit of a streak going, you end up facing off against what can be you know, a much higher tier team that is a very big challenge to go up against. And so those matches are always fun to watch. I do like to see the new blood, so to speak, versus the old, and we'll get more of those games later on in the season. You know, it's been a personal goal to try and highlight some newer squads that are joining into the league, give them some of that spotlight on the caster, on the casts, on the venues broadcasts, and you know, try and bring them in to this competitive esports viewing community. And it's been really successful so far. If you are new, I would encourage you to hit that follow button here, and also head on over to twitch.tv/onward_VRML. That's where games are played during the week. We have those games broadcast there, and on the weekends, matches set for 6 p.m. PST and 12 p.m. PST Saturday and Sunday respectively. And so if you do want to catch action, be sure to also follow here and tune in during the weekends. If you don't know what Venues is, you can download the app on your Quest or Quest 2. There's a space where you can go in and watch these games on a big screen, movie theater size screen, with other people that also like watching VR esports. You can kind of root on cheer on your team with other folks, enjoy the game in a community space, and it's a really cool way to watch the action. I know there's a lot of dedicated VRML folk that enjoy Venues, so check that out, and check this out. Round 3, back into the action.
This is definitely one of those objectives that's going to work in LGR's favor. That encirclement is going to be so powerful here. We got a pushed out defender here. Darian gonna run into a couple offense pretty quickly here. And again, MANCOS taking a lot of ambush positions as Sniper manages to shut down Darian from the side. Yeah, and now it's just down to the ambush.
Seems like they're trying to kind of throw a little of the LGR medicine at them, trying to get these early picks. And, well, LGR gets rid of that early outcropping defender, and now they are beginning to surround the objective. And Kayat is dangerous when you allow it to be surrounded. There's just so many entry points. You can go upstairs and cap downstairs behind. There's a tremendous amount of variety here on this objective to cap, and so I imagine LGR have cap on the mind as they set up for positioning. Baron's going to come out maybe a little bit too early and gets pinched between two guns.
Sofo looking for the refrag. If Sofo goes down, though, it's going to open up a cap, but the trade is going to help prevent that. Remliv takes down one in the market. Down to just Tavo, way off of objective, though. If they plan this right, it'd be a cap.
I don't know if they're going to go for that, though. Armageddon likely to peek here and find this kill. Tavo actually gets 2.
Oh.
Superman Mad should have a line, though, and they're going to take that kill. LGR take the round. But an off-meta position there for Tavo nearly regains control. LGR, however, do not allow that point. And it is 3-0 on map 3 here, Sky. This has been, well, a dominant performance from the LGR squad. They have been, this entire team has been finding kills. Burke, Superman, Remliv playing well, Snooper, Armageddon, everyone really has had a impact in this series throughout these maps. And the coordination in particular looking very good. I'm interested to see this team later on in the season, Sky. Already, you know, it's just got me curious what they can do with where they're at now and how much it seems they've put in terms of practice during the offseason.
There's definitely a layered skill gap here that LGR has managed to expand on. Mm-hmm. Whatever they're doing, it's working, and they should keep doing it.
Yep. We can't tell you what it is because we don't understand French, but it's yeah.
I don't know. I think we're nailing their team name pretty well. I think we could pass as Frenchmen.
Yeah, well, who knows how we're actually supposed to say Burke, that name is, or Remliv.
Burke.
We're probably, I'm assuming I'm just, you know, I'll get in
destroying
here full.
it.
Yeah, I'll get in here full.
BRK.
Or I'm thinking maybe Berse, you know, like they're like who?
Berse with the roll of the R.
I don't know, you know. I'm not, again, I don't have the French expertise, but I do have the Onward expertise.
Saying hello. I do know enough Spanish to know hola as hello. Hello, MANCOS. They all wave to us. So definitely still in high spirits, like I was saying. Their head is still in it. They're not letting this get to them. They're still having fun.
Yeah, and they have been playing, not like they've been finding kills. Ooh. Every map, you know, they haven't found a round.
Like that.
But they've been finding kills, and you know they've been getting on the scoreboard. They've been even in KDs in some cases, and so it's not that they are playing bad here. It's just that LGR is bringing that extra level of coordination that's winning them the rounds. And so, yeah, MANCOS don't necessarily have anything to be disappointed about. If anything, they're probably happy that they are on cast. I know a lot of these, again, new teams that don't get to normally be on stream are happy to see themselves here, and they can get to show it to their friends. We love to be able to provide these games, and we're looking to onboard new casters. As I say, that'll take a pause. Superman's going to find one.
Armageddon going on his crazy flank again.
Yeah, but Selfo seems to be keyed into the potential here.
Oh.
They're learning. MANCOS have adapted to the LGR style of offensive defense, and yeah, now MANCOS have that kill lead. I think for one of the first times in the series, they're up 4-3, maybe a chance for them to get a point on the board.
And they're looking pretty good on the pinch here. You got Baron in the north. Fairgun about to run close to Superman over here in the east. Gonna take a look at that.
Ooh.
Oh, the trade comes out. Fairgun, Rezable, and Baron in a decent position to rotate for it. Oh. And they, again, have a nice pinch going.
What the heck? Well, Fairgun dies. Don't ask me how. But I think that was 10 seconds after the trade. 5 seconds at least. Strange, but we've had some strange things happening.
Baron.
Like that.
with camera 2.
Oh yeah, they're working their way in.
Under the distraction. If Sniper isn't careful, Baron could get by, but it looks like Sniper's looking right under the wood.
Just misses
Oh,
it.
I don't know. I think maybe not. No, he didn't glimpse it. Looked like he was going to rotate. No, he didn't catch it. Oh, he is rotating now, though.
Remliv trades, and Sniper is looking. Baron hears this, goes for the reload,
1v1.
and Remliv comes in, and MANCOS get one on the board. They do not get skunked.
Wow.
It comes down to a 1v1 trade, of course, but they put one on the board.
Wow. On the last round, too.
Well, not yet.
Yeah, not anymore.
The certainly the map point, obviously, for LGR, but yeah, not the last round just yet. MANCOS go on the defense now as we switch objectives again to that west side of the map, and yeah, we'll see if MANCOS can throw up a defensive round now. They've put up a Marsoc one, which is impressive against how LGR have been playing. Maybe they can put up a solid defensive round here as we shift objectives to an objective that I think is easier to defend than attack. Maybe that's just me.
It forces you into these close quarters. However, I will say on the stance of the attackers, there are so many spots you can cap from. So if you do manage to get to the objective, I would say the cap potential is very high.
Yeah.
However, the defense potential is very high because it's pretty easy to watch all of the crosses. It's just once they get inside of that courtyard area, it's high risk for cap.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, series does continue, and round number 5 kicks off with MANCOS trying to hang in there. Gotta be feeling happy with that trade, and again, getting a point on the board. Was, for a moment there, 11 unanswered points by LGR. And again, the rounds won matter. So for MANCOS to get one here, it does lighten the damage done to their ranks. So if they can get more, it'll help them out that much more. And if they can obviously win this third map, that will definitely go towards lightening the blow to their rank. But it's a tall order, a big comeback, and they have to defend as LGR begin their offensive maneuvers here in the south.
Looks like Darian might be the one to watch. As far as our newly aggressor flanker defender over in Kaya, about to run into Superman.
Yeah, it's something Darian's been doing on MANCOS. I think every round he's been pushing up and getting it pretty far forward here. But they've been getting caught out.
Goodness. Oh!
And Superman
Just like that.
catches him out.
Ooh.
Another kill coming in, this time on the other side of things. Armageddon pushing up onto the side. And MANCOS down to 3. Again, the risks of being a little bit too far out on defense presenting themselves here, as those result in no kills, and it's a 5v3 right now. LGR looking to lock in this final map for themselves. Not letting this one go just yet, and MANCOS, well, they're on objective, so LGR is going to have to push and crash. 4.5 left on the clock.
Remliv and Armageddon slowly preparing their cross to the mini market. Armageddon just putting down some pre-fire as Remliv makes his cross. Nice coverage. Take a look at the rest of the offense. A little bit behind, I would say. However, they do have the numbers advantage. think that was a team flashbang and now a team kill from the other side. Oh, Superman taking down Tavo's going to open up the cross a bit. And now it is just 2 men on objective to defend this.
Yeah, Fairgon circling around, does get rid of one, but they're down on OBJ. Armageddon could pop out now and swing the corner and potentially be punching in code. I mean, there's a lot of different places that this code could be going in. But Barons made themselves known, and it looks like the LGR squad is on the hunt for this final defender. Burke on the backside wants to pad the stats a little bit more. Superman spots the kill, but runs out of ammo. Nobody can get rid of this final defender. Finally, Superman confirms it, and LGR take the series 4-1. A strong performance from them for sure, and I think we've said a lot about them already, Sky, but I guess any final thoughts on what is now the 12-1 W for LGR?
The French win the Spanish.
Yep. Yep, the outcome here determined in our international duel. Certainly a fun one to drop into, and an informative one at that, as we do find out LGR coming into Season 12 with a little bit of focus and teamwork. The Gouloir Refractaire deserving of this W, and MANCOS have some footage to look back on and learn from. You know, they had some good attacks, they had some good setups, they got a lot of kills. I mean, again, you look at the KD feed there, they're getting 2-1-2, they're finding the kills, they're just not getting enough. And GR, I think the coordination just is what did it for him here today. And, well, a fun one to tune into, but that's all we have here. A fast one at that, Sky. I think almost under an hour and a half of game time. So a very quick series from this team, and, well, that's what happens when it's 12-1, right?
Not a lot of rounds.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, MANCOS, their heads were in it. I mean, it's always good to see, despite losses taking place, it's always good to see people having fun and enjoying themselves in the game that they're playing, because that's what we're all here for.
That's the whole point. That is the whole point, to have fun playing the game competitively, and whether you're winning or losing, that is a side result, so to speak. At the end of the day, you're having a good competitive matchup, and so MANCOS definitely finding some good competition here, and a fun one to tune into. A shout out to everyone that was stopping by, whether you're on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, or venues. We do appreciate you dropping in and hanging out. We have these games regularly on the weekends, 6 p.m. PST on Saturday, 12 p.m. PST on Sunday. And be sure to follow those links so that you can be informed when these are going to be going live. If you want to get more involved, you can head on over to vrml.com. You can follow all of the social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. If you want to catch the VODs, you can catch them on Twitch and YouTube. And also follow our other channels, twitch.tv/onward_VRML, so that you can catch live action during the week. Eventually, we'll have multiple games live on the weekends, and that channel will also be populated on the weekends. But we are slowly recruiting new casters, so if you are also a new caster and are interested, please head on over to the vrml.com website, where you can register as a caster, fill out that universal production application, and we'll be taking a look at those throughout the regular season to onboard new folks that are interested in casting. So be sure to check that out. And last but not least, a shout out to all of our sponsors that come together to provide the prize pool that these teams are ultimately competing for. Those sponsors are ProTube VR, VR Cover, Asterion, VRware, VRML, obviously, and our new addition, Border Foods. You can do !Border Foods to learn more about one of the largest franchises in the Midwest for Taco Bell. They offer competitive working wages with scholarship opportunities and career opportunities. They're a great company, and we're very proud to be partnering with them. If you want to learn more about that partnership, you can head on over to borderfoods.com/VRML, and you'll find out all the info you need to. It's a great opportunity for us as we branch out of VR sponsorships into more industry standard stuff. And so hopefully this will lead to more sponsors, which is more prize pool for the teams. So it's all good news here. With that, I'll be signing off. My name's Ben Nightfire with 2 E's, my co-caster, the Sky Joker. We'll see you all next week for more VRML action. Until then, stay classy.